I figured it wouldn't matter. Okay, we are now recording.
Live and shit. Okay. Um, yeah, so Scott needs us to play a game. Like probably about 5 sessions or so of this 1983 Call of Cthulhu for his dissertation. We can go into what his dissertation is about if anyone wants to. Uh, but the biggest thing is that y'all should have received an email consent form from Scott, which you just need to you can print and sign. You can just type your name in, should be form fillable, and you just need to send that back to him. Um, and yeah, for 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 the internal review board of our university, because everything's got to be bureaucracy. But yeah, I don't know who's next.
I suppose I'll go since I'm new in
Perfect.
town. Hello, my name's George. Good friend of Casey's. Have known them for a couple of years now. Um, there's not a whole lot to know about me. I'm about 25. I'm unfortunately out of school at this point. I'm working as a special education para as well as a student bus driver for this little tiny town of a population of like 400 out in the middle of nowhere, Wyoming. So that is me. Been playing TTRPGs now for about 2 years as well. So I'm excited to kind of meet you guys and play this new. I've never done this, so this is exciting.
Neither have I.
I'll go next. Sorry, the dog was barking the last time. But I'm Casey, they and he pronouns. Part of Serious Play, did some play testing in the past. Probably will do more play testing in the future. Been playing TTRPGs for 12 years now. And live, laugh, loving it.
I'm Jen. I'm a senior lecturer at EWM in English. I'm in Serious Play with Casey and Leia. I'm also 25. Little joke, little joke. I almost made Casey do a spit take on that one. I have been playing role-playing games on and off as life allows um, since longer than George has been alive. So, so there you go. Um, with kids and writing and school and teaching and everything, that opportunity is not always there. So just very excited about this. I've only done Cthulhu a couple times, like one shots at cons. Remember, Paul, we did that one at Midwinter where we all died like immediately. It's like a World War II thing.
Good time.
Haunted plane, swamp, dead. Just everybody dead. Or crazy. I was crazy and then dead. But I like the system. I mean, aside from the, racism and stuff built into it. Other than that, I really like the system and the mood of it. So I'm excited about this.
Awesome. I'm Paul. I'm a Gen appendage. I also teach at EWM in English and for dual enrollment. Casey actually play tested one of like the current game that I'm working on. Um, and Scott, I know Scott because he play tested my first role playing game that came out way back in the
How long ago?
like 5 years now, like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was the playtest. The game came out 2 years ago, but yeah, he played an early version of that at our kitchen table. And yeah, I'm super excited. I love all role playing games. I've been doing it like Jen since before any of you were born.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
I think my first game session was 1981. So, yeah, still going.
We're so old.
Yeah.
No, look, the best games have a plethora of types of people. So like having different generations of people in this room is spot on, kind of exactly what I like to do. So it's all good. I suppose I should have introduced myself as a gamer. I have never run this. I have never played it. No Call of Cthulhu of any edition at all. So we're just gonna see how it goes. I don't know. Um, but I've been playing and or running for I don't know 17 years now or something. Um, and I'm a game designer as well. So Casey has playtested a previous version of the game that I'm currently working on, which was very interesting. We'll just say that. It is better now, and that's what matters. But yeah.
Same group, Casey, that tested Paul's game, because that group is hilarious. Oh my god, they're so much fun.
I'm hoping that we could get them playing the new iteration.
Yeah, the new iteration of that game's coming out this year sometime. Well, no. The playtesting is coming out this year sometime. We're gonna start playtesting this year. I'm interested to see Casey play that game, mostly because it's so wildly different. The previous
No, I'm
versions were not
so
written.
excited. Sorry.
You're fine. The previous versions were written by the owner of the company that I work for, and it just every time was not what they wanted it to be. And so this time they hired a whole team to make this game, and it's certainly different than it was before. So Casey will see the transformation from 17 attribute pools to no attribute pools.
Good. I dunked so hard on it. I'm not gonna lie.
No, I mean like that yeah. No, and
It was great. Like the lore, the world. Like there were so many things I fucking loved about it. But as far as the mechanics went, like, sorry, not to derail too much. I think my main gripe was like I love playing support characters, and it didn't really let you play a support character mechanically, at least.
Yeah, I don't know if there will be anything but support characters in this new iteration, so we'll see. Whole bunch of support characters got together and wrote a game. Is what happened. So we'll see what goes on. But anyway, I'm all here for random tidbit side quest conversations. I have zero problems with that. That's like half the reason I like TTRPGs. So tangents are always fine. I haven't like run for people I don't know in a while, so hopefully I'm not too awkward. The pandemic has certainly changed some shit. But you all should have the rules. You didn't need to read them for today. I only skimmed them. I have not gotten super deep into the rules yet. Just haven't had time. So today we're really just getting to know each other, and by that I mean getting to know each other as gamers. Just what things are you into? What do you like to play? What stories are you actually interested in, like generally, but also when we enter into something like Cthulhu World, how much do you know about kind of the lore of Cthulhu and stuff? And all that jazz. So that's I don't know. That's what we're doing today. So we're just here to shoot the shit for a while.
Word. So I guess what I'm gonna start, the shit that I'm gonna start shooting is, I know that Leia, you wanted us or our characters to all know one another to some degree.
Yep.
So I guess maybe we could start by talking about like what sorts of characters we like to play, and how we might like to see our characters integrate with one another.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then like also like, you know, has anyone not read like Call of Cthulhu or any H.P. Lovecraft books? Which I'm not shaming on. Okay, so I would say ask Ben for his copy, but he gave it to me, so sucks to suck, George. But you ran that really good Cthulhu-esque thing, so I would say that that's kind of the same vibe as Call of Cthulhu anyway. So I think that we all have a good...
book is going to tell you that if you haven't read any H.P. Lovecraft, you are trash.
Oh my god.
But you know, they have a list of 15 books, and if you've read half of them, you are marginally qualified to play this.
Oh my god.
Yes, this is where we're at with these rules, kids. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, Casey, I know that you like to play support a lot. Here for that. I have no idea. Like this game is basically about a bunch of people who are not adventurers dying and going insane. So is perfect for support characters. For all the academics in the room, you can play yourselves because academic is a profession.
Yeah.
So you can just be you. And we do role characters
What it,
straight up in this
I
game.
do like that. It's so old school that you
Oh.
have to like roll and like you roll and like you don't get to decide if you're strong or smart or fast or well educated. Even you just
Yep.
roll the dice.
Just roll the
Love that.
dice for luck and for sanity.
Oh my
For
god.
all of it, all the way down the board, you roll. So, it's also a percentile die game. If we would like, to play the way that it wants us to play, which is percentile die using 2d20s, we absolutely can. Alternatively, if you have a d100 or if you have d10s, I will accept this unless this group decides no, we must play the way the rules tell us to, which I will also be fine with because I think it'd be very funny.
It would be funny, but also like that's just not a vibe for
So
me.
No, it's not a vibe. I've never heard that in my life.
And-
2d20s as percentiles.
No. So please correct me where you need to for the people who were there at the time and like old enough to understand what was like cognizantly going on. But I have been told by Scott that there used to be D20s that were 2 1 through 10s, and one set was either colored or underlined. Like 1 through 10 was either colored or underlined, or not, and that is how you determined whether it was a single or double digit because they did not print double digits on dice. Yeah, so you could use D20s as percentile die because of that. Wild. But anyway, so we can't do that if we want to, but we don't have to.
God,
Back in my day, we had to roll 20 sided with underlines.
oh my god.
Nightmare.
think-
No, let's do 10-sided percentage dice. My goodness gracious.
Yeah, just like churning butter from scratch, it seems fun in theory, but never in practice.
I do enjoy reading the book as a historical piece of literature though, because it's very much like, oh yes, as is the common way to do this, here is how you do percentile dies. And that being so wild that I had to text Scott and be like, what does this mean? Like, what do you mean? Which was highly entertaining and lovely. So
I wonder why did Scott make the choice to use this kind of older school
yes.
version of the game?
Yes, this was
Okay.
not me. I would not have chosen. This is not the
Okay.
game I would have brought to the table. Scott requested that we use this game.
So there must be
Um,
something about the oldness of it that's useful to his research.
Yeah, so he is studying games either 70 or 75 to 1981.
Okay.
But he also couldn't get his hands on the original Cthulhu 1981, so we're playing the 1983 version. But his dissertation focuses on texts from that particular time,
Gotcha.
which is the reason why we're using this particular rule set. So we will be rolling up characters because there isn't really a way to not do that in the rules. So you can choose what character you want to play before you roll and see whether it matches, or you can roll and create the character after. Happy either way.
Can we
It's a
have
really awesome.
Go ahead.
There's a really awesome line in the book where it says, if you don't like the character you roll up, you can always make a different one. And then it says, like, eventually when your investigators like have earned enough experience, they'll have a home base, and you can populate the base with those other characters. Someone has to wash the dishes, and
Yes.
like that's like the whole tone of the book. It's awesome.
You read the book?
Of course, I read the book.
Nerd alert.
Yeah, right?
I mean, I also kind of got through the first 25 pages. It's fine.
Nerd alert.
Good. good.
I didn't read the adventures, the pre-made adventures, because I was worried that we might do one, so I didn't want to like.
We are not doing one. So that's the other one. That's the other piece of this. We're home brewing some shit based on what we talk about. So feel free to read the scenarios at the back. I will probably be pulling some things from there because I've never run this system before or played it. So it is up to you whether I'm a GM that thinks that metagaming is not a bad thing for the most part. So long as people are having fun on my table, I don't give a shit. So if you would like to read all of that material, you are welcome. If you would like to not read it knowing that I might be pulling some things from that, that's also entirely up to you. Do what is fun for you. That is entirely my style. But yeah, so support characters are what you usually play, Casey. But what about like other people? What do you usually play? Like what games do you normally play or run or like what do you do? What's your gaming style?
I have a curse. I'm the forever DM in pretty much all of
Not
the.
anymore.
So this is really
Same.
nice. When I do get a chance to play, I tend to play um intelligent, dexterous types that are pretty not the norm for intelligent, dexterous types. Right? I like to play a thief that's got some thinking going on. I played World of Darkness games a lot and really really loved that. Sort of in the '90s and a little bit later than that actually even. So yeah, I'll play any kind of character, and I feel like the Cthulhu I've played in the past, I've always tried to like play the not academic guy because that's sort of my day job. So I'm always like, he's not a professor, anything but a professor. Yeah, that's me.
Do you have systems that you run like consistently, like systems that you're like, oh yeah, this is like if we did a pickup and one shot, this is my go-to?
Um, well, for the last like 4 years, I've been designing too much and playing just my own stuff that I'm writing. So like I played Ethereum, like the first role playing game I made. I played that for a few years, and now Pillars is the thing I'm running constantly for various groups. Um, and that's a sort of modern fantasy, small town fantasy, like Kids on Bikes plus Cthulhu. Actually, it's sort of similar.
Okay.
If it's dark, um, if it's
Yeah,
not
we
dark.
kind of did at Casey, and we had a long running a World of Darkness group that we just kind of ported into Pillars for a little while,
Yeah.
which was less of a shock than Casey's D&D players being ported into Pillars for a little while. Like we knew what cars were,
Right.
I
But
got
that world, we've had two really long running World of Darkness games. So I think, that, and you play a lot of D&D, so those are probably our two big systems.
you. Okay.
I have a bookshelf somewhere of like I collect sort of role playing games just to read because I can't find players to
Sure.
put at a table. Like Ars Magica is something I've never played, but like have all the books for and like love dearly. And there's a huge like Pendragon, Ars Magica, all of the
Sure.
older stuff that nobody will play.
Should probably have Scott over to check out the shelf, the 80s shelf.
Right. Yeah. But I'm excited just to be a player. So makes me happy.
How about you, George?
Oh boy, yeah. So in the realm of RPGs, I'm kind of new to dipping my toes into basically both video games and tabletops alike. I've only ever really played Dungeons and Dragons. I did try to help a friend playtest out a system of her own. It unfortunately just never go anywhere, which happens. I tend to gravitate towards super squishy, somewhat unhinged utility casters. So yeah. I don't know why that comes up, but that seems to be my focus often. But like in video games, I tend to run more, supporty, more tanky. It actually ends up being a lot of whatever it is the team needs. So I'm that guy. I like to just play whatever. So yeah, that's kind of who I am as a gamer, I guess.
Lovely. How long have you been playing TTRPGs?
Like not long at all. I think I started in like Ooh, what was that? Like the April, May of 2020 was kind of my first re-dip into TTRPGs. So it's been 2 years about max, and it's
Oh,
mostly
You're
been
a
D&D.
COVID gamer.
I love it. I love it so much.
Yeah,
This is
I'm
gonna
so
be
new that
really
I
fun.
haven't gotten like an opportunity to play every single class of D&D so far. So I'm still like every time I play a new campaign or something, I'm always trying a new class.
Just gotta
Like
be
I
a
would just
DM.
I would like to say that up until I stopped playing D&T a couple of years ago, I have been playing for like 15 years and had not played every
Yeah.
like because there well mostly because there are just some that I don't care about like Paladin, but um uh but yeah, you don't you that if anyone tells you that if you haven't played all of them you're not a real gamer, just leave that conversation because
Right.
it's
I don't
If
think that
anyone
ever comes
says,
up. Sorry, I'm so sorry,
I was
Jen.
just gonna say, if anyone ever says any sentence that ends in "then you're not a gamer," walk away from that
oh
conversation.
yeah
Yeah,
yes
we don't
Like
yeah I
deal
mean
with
that
those
is
seriously,
things here.
like any front half of that sentence, if it ends in that back half of sentence, just go.
yes no absolutely. I'm at a point where I've just decided that I don't want to play. It's very fun, Paul. It's very funny, Paul, because you're like I don't have any players to play anything, but I don't have any players to play anything. And I'm like I don't play D&D anymore specifically because someone's got to stop. Like someone has to. Like someone has to be the person that's willing to play another system. Like there has to be
Just
someone.
hop into Dungeon World. It's so good.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Dungeon World is great. I want to move away from like fantasy. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
like let's play some urban fairy shit, okay? Like
Yeah.
like let's play some small town gay love. Like let's play anything else. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's me as of most
Hmm.
recently. It's been like I think if Scott had been like I want you to run D&D, I'd have been like have fun finding someone else. Um, uh, mostly because I love all the little quirky, weird systems that no one has played or very few people have played, because there are so many good ones out there. Um, I run a lot of horror. I haven't run much horror for Casey, but I do run a lot of horror games. Um, I have a pretty standard kids on bike Furby factory dungeon crawl um that I like to run. uh so that's yeah, I watch a lot of horror movies and I play horror games, and it's actually really fun because Confluence is fairly like wholesome. So I create wholesome games, but I run horror filled extravaganzas.
Nice.
Nice.
um yeah, Casey, what are you playing these days? You play test a lot now, don't you?
I do. I play tested the same system that George did, and collectively decided it's not a vibe either. But no one's first game system is ever the true vibe. At God,
I would like to throw out that I feel like if the work was put into it consistently, it could have gone somewhere.
agreed. Absolutely. But right now, I actually am just playing exclusively D&D at the moment. But I would love to swap some of those to like Dungeon World, do another play, not play powered by more powered by the apocalypse systems because I do like, uh, that rule set list. Um,
Mhm.
I know that Paul, you were looking for another run of Pillars, which I would love to get into sometime again. But once the fall hits, just that Saturday is all I got. So
Mm. Yeah, I'm rounding up. I'm trying to grab a few more people and make those weekends work at the house or online, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Are you thinking about running a game, Paul, or are you talking
Yeah,
about trying to con people into playtesting? Oh, you're going to run it.
yeah. I was gonna run it
Okay.
for some of the playtest bigwigs like Casey and that other guy, the other Scott. It's not Scott that they know. It's the other Scott.
Other
Playtest,
Scott.
yeah, playtest Scott.
I
So
like how we
Scott,
have Scott and other Scott. I'm here for that.
He's one of the guys that I met that I drove out.
okay.
Yeah. The guys that are really into it. They're like sort of super fans of the game. It's kind of
Yeah, those guys are funky. They're like your swim fans. I don't know.
yeah. Well, they
Just don't tell them where you live, man.
I know, but I might. I don't know.
They're just they're really excited about this game. Well, no, it's a weird coincidence because they actually played with Paul at Gen Con, the first game that Paul developed. And then he put a call out and these guys answered and they were like, oh my God, it's you. It's that same guy from Gen Con. And like 10% of me thinks they knew that already and they're stalkers.
But Ann Holmes hooked us up together. So
5%. 5%.
So I don't know. But yeah, it was weird when we all figured it out, and I was like,
Yeah.
I mean, all gamer dudes of a certain age look kind of the same, and I was just like,
Yeah.
oh,
It's definitely a type.
you are that guy. Yeah, it was a little weird, but yeah.
Yeah. And
I'm,
Leia, you'll definitely be invited to that if you would like to try it out too.
I'm already in a
Yeah.
game on Saturdays.
Yeah.
But future, you know,
Well,
keep
we'll
me
see
keep
when
me
we
on the list.
when we concrete up the conversation, actually try to schedule.
Yeah.
Scheduling is the devil. Scheduling is
It
the
is,
enemy.
yeah.
we should
Yeah,
make a
that's
role-playing game about scheduling.
I would never play that game.
I know,
Why would I want to play that game?
because you could like have
No, it's
closure.
my whole fucking life,
Yeah, I was
dude.
about to
Is
say
that
that's
game?
called. And I was about to say, aren't you like the 101 coordinator, or used to be? Like, do you have to deal with that
Yeah.
no.
way too
This
much?
is
Yeah.
this is my um this is my proposal. Is that instead of a game based on scheduling, we have character creation based on scheduling, and everyone starts with 100 points, and for every message the DM has to send you about scheduling, you lose 1 point. And
That's amazing. We're doing that in our
and
World of
so-
Darkness group.
and
I
that's
love
Because I
just
can think of 2 guys in our World of Darkness group that just bottomed out their characters. Like they're just like 0 stats and anything. They're just laying in a pond,
Oh my
like
god.
slowly dying.
they just
That's
are
it.
the pond. They cannot
Yep.
move. They
Yep.
do nothing.
They cannot
just-
move.
Speaking of
Uh,
character
Oh my
creation,
God, that's amazing, Leia.
I would love to
Yes.
start rolling just to see what
Yeah.
numbers
Just
we
to
get.
see how terrible it is. I'm here for that.
Yeah.
I am absolutely here for that. If people would like to roll characters today, I am absolutely here for that.
I would like to,
Dice-
just so we could start talking about like potential, not like jobs or whatever, but like things that, potential characteristics of our characters, and we could think through that and then think, how we're all related to. Go ahead.
Right, yeah. I think but before we do that, I wanna talk about like what things are interesting for y'all. Like what things do you want to explore in the Cthulhian universe where the elder gods will make an appearance? So Scott has requested a couple of things for this game. One, that it take place in 1983.
Ooh.
Love that.
2, that an elder god, one of them, doesn't matter which one, makes an appearance.
You just need 6-sided, honey.
And that, what is the last one? He does want all of us to read a little bit of H.P. Lovecraft. I can probably get my hands on the PDF of one like a short story or something
I
fairly
think Call
easily.
of Cthulhu is under 50 pages as well.
Yeah, so I'll put some stuff in the materials for people to read. So that's one of the other things is that will come up in the after interview questions that he'd like to do with everyone, and so that we all have read something by Lovecraft.
Our eldest has like an entire shelf of Lovecraft. Like we're set for that.
Lovecraft was on my prelims.
And then also to let you all know, because I just remembered that I forgot this, we are getting paid $40. He can Venmo, PayPal, or give us a drive-through RPG credits.
Word.
So whatever type of money you would like to receive.
Money is good.
Monies is fine. and then also that it does take place in kind of a Cthulhu-y world. So, you know, we're definitely going to be in Cthulhu land. We're definitely going to be in 1983, and we're definitely going to meet an elder god. So those are our unless someone like really X-nayed any one of those, that's where we're starting. So I'd like to talk to y'all first about what types of stories are interesting to you. Like, what types of things do you want to explore in the 1983 Cthulhu Land?
My gut reaction is to have at least one scene take place in like a DMV or something that's so fucking mundane, but then have just like elder god shit happening. Like you're just trying to, renew your license and the fucking person behind the desk is throwing up, tentacles or whatever.
Sure, absolutely.
Love it.
I'll kind of jump in on this, I guess. So for me, just using the experience I have, Casey, with that one shot I ran with you, I am a huge fan of horror. I think cosmic horror is great. I love the tone. I love the vibe. So that's going to be just up this like little campaign, little ally, anyways. I don't really care too much about the elder gods or anything like that. Like I'm fine with freaky shit just happening. Like that's cool. I don't have specific scenes planned out. I myself tend to be a bit more of like a puzzle player or like a combat based player. Just my experience from TTRPGs in general. So, and on top of that, I'm a huge fan of like mysteries and stuff like that. I get that he wants it to be in 1983. I'm a little sad that it's not in the 1920s settings or setting, just because that's a vibe and aesthetic. But like 1980s will be fine too. So
Look, there
if
are
we,
lots of ways we can bring in 1920s things to 1983. Like I can bring some of that vibe.
We could do a theater just like you did, and we're putting on a play, and that some characters have to like do fucking method acting.
Yes.
oh my god,
Yeah. I'm also all here for 1920s characters that got timey-wimeyed into 1983. That would also be hilarious and fun. I don't care. So like if 1920s is a vibe that people are like, no, I really wanted to do 1920s, like we could bring that vibe to 1983. I mean, we could have 1920s boys show up in a roller rink.
oh my gosh.
I'm here for that. I don't care.
Nah. Yeah, that's just more of an aesthetic thing. That's just a comment. I don't really care
Sure.
particularly. But that's kind of who I am as a player, I suppose. So I'm really all up for mysteries. I love puzzles. I'm out for like combat. That sounds cool. I'm a little lower on the RP spectrum, though I'm getting there. Casey's made sure of that. So um that's kind of who I am. I don't know. I'm excited just to be in this campaign in general.
Cool.
I really like a sense of mystery too. Like there's stuff to figure out, and and you don't necessarily know what's around the next corner. I'm maybe a little heavier into the role playing part of it and less into the combat part of it. Um, so together, George and I will be a complete. Um, I mean, I like the combat part. I just like, I don't know, it's not my favorite part of a game. Like when I look back on a game and the parts I really liked, it was the parts where we were super duper into character and like didn't touch the dice for a little while, and just like really leaned on character. Um, Kinds of games, like all the games. I like all the games where there's a chance to role play and there's a chance to roll the dice and there's like some kind of surprise or mystery about it. I tend to get a little attached to characters and kind of like the game that Paul is running for our 14-year-old and their friends. I swear to God, those kids write up a new character like twice a game. Or that one's dead. And then they just like crumple it up and do a new one. Like I hate that. I really like to have a character that I can have for a while.
Hey Jen, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Are you okay if you don't though?
No, I'm okay if I no, I'm okay. I'm just saying I don't like really,
reading these rules. I'm over here like, I don't know, guys.
No. No. And like I said though, that's kind of like coming from my World of Darkness years and like the one shots. Paul and I did 2 1-shots at different cons. We did one that World War II thing where we died right away, and then we did another one with that dude who turned out to be a sexual harasser. So that's fun. What's his name?
I don't remember the guy who wrote Chill.
McFarlane.
Yeah.
Matt McFarlane. And we were like, we got to play a game with Matt McFarlane. Oh, he's a sexual harasser.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. So that was fun. But so this game, yeah, I expect that I will die at some point. I just,
Okay.
games where you kind of like toss characters into the wood chipper every half hour because you're bored are not necessarily my thing.
Okay, we're gonna we're definitely gonna see how it goes, and then if people are dying too quickly, we'll do something about it. I think that's like
Yeah.
I think for me, in all the games I play, I really like Magic. Whether it's modern fantasy or D&D or whatever, that's the part of games that I like the most. And I've never actually played Cthulhu, where Magic hasn't completely driven my character insane, because that's usually how that goes. So like I think like having, and I really like that sort of brutal sanity loss that Cthulhu has. So I'm actually looking forward to losing my mind. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. And if my character has an opportunity to like touch something he's not supposed to touch, that is obviously corrupting, my character will touch it. I mean, I promise. So
You haven't
Taking
even
one
written your
for the
character
team.
up yet, and you already know that.
I just know that.
look, those are good details because it means that I get to put in buttons
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah.
I will
and
press the
shiny
button.
things
Yeah.
and corrupted stuff and just know immediately that I'm gonna have at least one player that's gonna do it. Like
That's
this
gonna
is
touch
gonna
that
happen.
button. Yep.
I have a question, like for fellow players, thinking about, because we talk about the sort of aspects that we like, but what about like setting? Because like I can easily see like that sort of Stranger Things style where it's a smaller town vibe versus like in an urban city. Like you could have someone just throwing up tentacles and people just keep walking by because not my business. And so like I'm just kind of curious what sort of setting would be fun for people.
Good question.
That's an interesting question. Yeah.
So I mean, there are a couple questions that I want to ask about that too. So like small town, big city, both legit. Like knowing that like you want some kind of mundane DMV scenario somewhere, and that kind of like weird shit happening in mundane space is like important, but also like, do you want it to be in a place you have been or not? So like if it was set in Milwaukee, or if it was set somewhere in Wyoming, or if it was set somewhere people have been, like that definitely changes. I've run games like that and it absolutely is wild.
Yeah,
An
no,
absolutely
I'm
wild
so
experience.
sad I wasn't part for the Fate game where it was based in Milwaukee. But I will say I had enough fun in our Supernatural game, where even if I hadn't been to that place before, the fact that I knew that it was like somewhere. So like I would like it to be
Yeah.
very much based in a real world town. And we all sort of, do a little bit of homework looking up the vibe of it. But as far as whether I've been there before or not, doesn't matter to me.
I mean,
I've actually never really go for it. I'm so sorry.
No, you go first. You go first.
No. It's okay. Elders first.
Yes. Well then, no, I was just gonna say, for Paul and I, because we are working so hard on pillars right now, that we're doing a lot, because that's always or usually in a small town, unless you get a play test group that's like, no, we will immediately go to New York City. It's usually in a small town. So like we've just been working on the small town vibe and like working on art and stuff that's got that small town vibe. So that would be cool for us, just selfishly, to kind of stay with that sort of vision and vibe.
oh my god, I totally thought that you were just about to say it'd be nice to do not that, because
That's exactly what I thought you were gonna go for. I thought you were gonna be like, yeah, we're just in there all the time, so like doing something else would be great.
yeah. Whoops.
Yeah, no,
I
a
am full
small
of
town is
surprises.
totally fine.
Just said it in Wamsutter.
No, because you can't do that. I don't think there's enough people in town for there to have anything happen. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Oh, there
Is it
are.
really a town of 400?
I don't even think it's a town of 400. I think it's closer to 200. I'm gonna be real with you.
Wow.
The school itself is a K-8 school, and it has 22 students. So
Oh my gosh.
George,
That is a
there's
really small
451 as of 2010.
oh, 151. It's probably gone up.
451.
Oh, 451. Oh, it's definitely gone down since then because 2010 is when the oil field was really good. We got shit here now, so it's definitely
Wow.
gone down from 451.
All right, all right, all right.
I personally do not care. If people want to do small town, let's hit it. I'm all for it.
All right. So in that case, you want like thriving small town that gets like decimated by Cthulhu, or do you want like decrepit town that like also has Cthulhu?
Because it's going to have Cthulhu.
Because no matter what we do, it's gonna have
Yeah, I think building off Casey's idea earlier about like sort of mundane settings like a DMV or something. Like what about like a suburban town, like something close to it, a big city or a medium-sized city? So like something like a 9,000 person town like Cedarburg or something like
Sure.
that's not in the city. It is a small town, but you're 40 minutes away from a movie theater or something that
Sure.
size.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, Full disclosure, I grew up in Cedarburg, and that would be a perfect town because it's all creepy up there anyway. Like 4 graveyards.
See, I'm actually kind of on Paul's train of thought. I had that same thought come to mind too, where I'm like, what if we did like a suburban area that's not terribly far from like, some Milwaukee or whatever. And I get that you guys don't think Milwaukee's not a big town, but it is.
No, 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 George. I need you to know that I'm from Iowa. Milwaukee is the biggest city I've ever lived in. So
I don't know who told me that. I feel like it was Casey who told
it
me
was
that it's not
definitely
a big.
Casey, because
I definitely said that, yeah, because, growing up in New York City, Milwaukee's itty bitty.
Right.
Milwaukee is small potatoes, but I would just like everyone to know we
Of
hit a
course you would
million
say
people
potatoes.
before Chicago. So
That's more than the population of my entire state.
Have y'all read Paper Girls, by the way?
no.
Yeah.
Okay, because I would say the suburban horror like fits right into
Yeah.
Paper Girls. So
Yeah.
if you haven't read it,
I'm happy to do suburban horror. It allows me to do possessed Karens, and that is
no,
perfect.
well, that's actually why. So I'm on a kick about sundown towns right now because like just doing a quick overview. My sister and her partner are both wheelchair users who are very well off. She has a law degree. He's one of the top software developers. They have a combined income of like 6-7 figures. Like it's stupid.
Damn.
And so they bought a house that is in a historic sundown town. Not because it was in a historic sundown town, but because it was a beautiful house that they fell in love with. And they're going through a lot of legal and like just issues right now because they're trying to kick them out and get out of that because like it's still very white supremacist. And so
Wait.
when you were talking about like the 80s, I was thinking about like, okay, which town are we picking? Because if it is like a historic sundown town, like I would love to have the people that fuck around and find out be like maybe some racist trying to like call upon the elder gods to help whatever racist, you know, uh, shit that they want to do.
So I mean, so that would definitely, I would want to make sure everyone's down with some hardcore racism stuff.
Well, not
and,
necessarily
like,
have it be a thing. It's just like they've already like they are the known racists who are now babbling and just incoherent at that point. So
Yeah.
that was the point I was trying to get at more so
Sure.
than having racists around and actively saying racist things.
Okay. So a veil, but still there. So for those who don't know what a line and veil are, a veil is like it's here, but we don't necessarily engage with it. It can be a part of the background, or it can be like a fade to black moment when we do encounter something that we're like, I don't really want to play through this, but I'm cool if it's in the world. And a line is like, I don't even want to know nothing about this thing there at all. Thank you, goodbye. So like a really good one would be like sexual assault. Although if we're doing real world, like it's Cthulhu probably exists somewhere. You will never encounter it. It will never be a part of anyone's like backstory that I have to read. That is a line for me. We're not doing that today. So like that. Whereas like we can be like, oh yes, the babbling racist that everyone just says, oh yes, he used to be racist and now he's gone insane. Um, like that would be a veil. So we can talk about some of that too for people as we
So
throw in.
has anyone here seen Lovecraft Country?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that a lot.
Like
That I just
literally
keep
that
coming
is
back to that.
Casey, that is the premise essentially. Like what you just said is the premise basically of Lovecraft Country. Just
Ah,
told very
yes,
much through
the
like black
academic
lens.
fear. No thought I have is original.
Sorry.
However, I know I would never want somebody to act out that racist behavior. I would be uncomfortable as a DM having to act out racist behavior. So I would never want that upon somebody. However, I do think that I'm gonna be honest, I love that kind of karmic justice. So I would actually be a
Sure.
fan of setting it in a town like that.
I am more than happy to. Okay, so this is what I'm gonna say. Just wait for the end of the sentence. I am more than happy to play racists, but I'm not going to play racism, if that makes sense. So like, it will be very obvious that this person is a racist, but I'm not gonna be like using the N word or the other things that probably racists do. So like, that for me is kind of like a veil where like what this person is, but we're just you're not gonna actively confront it.
That's a
So
vibe.
that's yeah. That's
Yeah, so say like a racist person comes in and says racist things and then leaves. Right. So
yes,
you don't have to like
or
yeah.
like yeah, or like this very rich white guy walks in and kind of like looks at you in a way that he is racist and
Hmm.
and then and so like so that would
Yeah.
be I'm happy to do that. I have zero problems with that. Just making it clear what the expectations are. But yeah, we can do racist fuck around and find out.
It's always kind of satisfying. Like shooting Nazis in a video game.
Sure.
Or Nazi zombies in that one game. What's that one game where we shoot Nazi zombies? That's really fun.
Call of Duty.
I feel like that's every Call
Yeah.
of Duty.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it was a really kind of crappy, like B level.
I think it was Army of
But
the
we
Dead.
were shooting zombie Nazis, so it was really fun. And it had 4-person co-op, so we could do it as a family.
Oh my
Which is a
god.
great family activity. Shooting
Oh
Nazi
no.
zombies together is a very
And nothing
wholesome
brings the
activity.
family closer than shooting Nazi zombies.
Exactly. Thank you. That's going to bother me now what that was called. I'll look it up.
Yeah, all right. So not like 9,000-ish person suburb, small town-ish, uh racist, probably like Pennsylvania, maybe Ohio.
I mean, let's be real. Most
Ohio.
suburban cities
Yeah.
in the
So
80s.
I mean, yeah, there are actually a lot of historic sundowntowns in Pennsylvania. I always like
Mhm.
to set those kinds of things in the north because everyone assumes that they're going to be in the south, and then
No,
like half of
yeah.
them aren't, and then they're like, "Wait, hold on, what do you mean?" And then it's like, I'm like, go if you are
Hmm.
a white cis heterosexual male. Please take a trip to the Panhandle of Idaho and come back to me with a report.
Hmm.
But yeah, anyway, yeah. So when I do that, I usually set things in the north because it again is
Contradicts
fun.
those myths that only
Mhm,
racism
mhm.
happens in the South.
Yes, especially when we're confronting things like this, I like to do what I can to be like, and did you know?
Hmm.
Um,
Pennsylvania's good for Lovecraft too. I mean, most of it's set in
yes.
Yeah.
England.
Hmm. And it's also like I feel like it's also very wooded, so I feel like there's a lot of cool, because I feel like with the nosy neighbor trope that happens in suburbia, is a little bit more difficult to see what's going on in each other's homes when there's an acre of trees in between the two of you.
Mm.
So helps add to the mystery where you're like, oh well, like why couldn't I just hear them screaming, incoherently in the middle of their cult circle? Well, yeah, because you might have thought it was coyotes or something.
Sure. Foxes. That's where banshee myths come from. All right. So we kind of got our place down. Do y'all want to be from the 80s? Like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to be like people coming into town, or do you want to be people from the town?
I want to wait until I roll my character.
That's really good.
Cause like for like, and I'm totally ready to scrap this idea. But like back when I thought we were doing like 1920s, I was thinking of a character that is just like a railroad construction worker, and he goes into town, he works, and then he goes home, and then while he was on the job, that's when he got wrapped up in this. But I don't know if I doubt that I'm gonna stick to that anymore. But I still want to roll my character before I make any major decisions.
Absolutely. So all of the folks, so Call of Cthulhu, this version of Call of Cthulhu assumes that you are an investigator of weird shit. So you might be brand new to investigating, or you might be old hat at investigating. Um, so yeah, so that is the background it will assume for you one way or another. Yeah. Okay. I had a question and then it left my brain. Yeah, no, it's gone. Are there things for like things that you just don't want to see in this game? I do have it in the consent form, but particularly the things that aren't necessarily listed there, because there's a lot there, but not everything. So are there things that you're just like a really popular one is like no harm to kids. I see that one a lot. I'm a person that ends up putting creepy children in my stuff,
Mhm.
which I will not do if this group is like, please don't do that. Um,
I think
but yeah,
for me, literally the only thing I wouldn't want in a game is cancer in kids. But literally, aside from that, you can kill all the kids you want. Woodchipper,
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
blow them up, shoot them. Just like maybe not cancer kids would be great. Yeah.
okay.
Definitely.
Go ahead, George.
Oh, I'll just throw this out here. The one thing that I just cannot handle, it's okay if it's included in the game, you just got to give me a warning. I cannot do gore at all. Like any level of bodily fluid or blood, it's just a pain reaction on my end. I don't know what it is, but I can literally feel that pain and it makes me very queasy. So if you want to do that, I'm fine. You just got to give me the heads up like, oh, hey, BT dubs, mute yourself, deafen yourself for a little bit, and then you can describe the scene, and that's fine. You might get a fainting person on your hands if you don't do that.
We don't want that. How are you with like bugs, like descriptions?
Bugs are
Like,
fine.
Like.
How do you feel about tentacles?
I can kind of give examples. So like, for example, nosebleeds are fine for the most part. Like bugs and stuff like that, that's fine. But if you start to go into detail, like, oh, you watch as like the knife severs the bone from the finger and you can see the tendons and viscera, and it's like, no, thank you, right? Sorry,
Yeah.
Casey.
Yeah, I think Casey is also one of those. So
Chloe came to check in on me. She's so good.
How? I guess Jen and Paul, how are you on those things? Because if you're like,
Whatever.
And I'm
Whatever.
okay
Alright.
with it being included. Like, you could say you see a mutilated body, and then and you go, okay, now pause. I take my headphones off, I deafen myself, and you describe how it's mutilated.
Absolutely. As the GM, I'm a super fan of sending text to people when things are getting particularly, like to just amp the tension. I like to send secret messages. And so this is like great though, because then I can be like, yes, Paul, you see this mutilated corpse, and I can go into detail about that thing. And then Paul can be like, yes, this is what happened to this person based on the description that I gave Paul. And then neither of you have to see that, but then Paul is freaked out.
No, actually, especially with Cthulhu stuff, I feel like it works really well when one character sees something, and especially with the mystery, like then you have to retell that, and that can
Mhm.
lead to
Right.
miscommunications between characters, which I love so much.
Yeah, so on that note, like as I said, I'm really here for metagaming. I don't really care. But do you all have kind of preferred communication? Do you like it when like everyone kind of knows what only your character should know, or are you more like no, I don't, I don't want anyone else to know the things that I want to know. I want to be able to reveal those things to the people. Or are like, what are your vibes about metagaming and how do you like to be communicated with?
I like a
If there's kind
mix.
of a secret that only my character knows that might be a little sensitive, I like to get a private note about it. Just because, yeah, then I can kind of control that information. Like we have a method when we used to play our World of Darkness game in person, we would write notes to each other and crumple them up and fling them across the room.
Yes, yeah.
Very mature. So at least online gaming gives you better ways to do that.
Yes.
And definitely, if and when I betray the whole group and sacrifice the elf gods, I would definitely not want anyone to know that I have
Yes.
private
For sure.
message.
I think for me, I'm very much like Jen, where it's like if it's something that is integral to like the character as like a character secret, I prefer those to keep on the DL. But I feel like just giving the general vibe, we're all experienced enough players to know how to separate that layer of information. And as
Mhm.
Casey puts it, even being able to use that to like create fun character moments where it comes to misunderstandings as well. So I'll be honest, I sometimes metagame in the opposite direction where I purposely know that my character wouldn't know this information and I play that scene up a little bit.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. No, and that is absolutely totally fine.
Yep.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't know. Does anyone else so like this is kind of like off the story vibe, but on the like video etiquette guide, like one of the things like I know Casey can't stand the sound of chewing on like a deep soul ripping.
I will disable your video. I can't even watch other people eat on camera.
Does
Yeah.
anyone have anything like that that they would like to say out loud now? So we all could keep.
In the game with the 15-year-old kids, as mentioned, they're always chewing into the mics, and Paul is just like,
Oh my
I'm gonna
god.
peel off my own face. And then I hear him like break and be like, Donovan, if you want to eat your chips, maybe you could eat those while your microphone is turned off, like super calmly. But like visually, he's in the living room, like, oh my god. I mean, those kids have they'll just like chomp like a handful of chips with their face an inch from the
God.
microphone and like not even care.
Gross.
Savages. It's horrible.
Yeah. They're 15-year-old dudes for the most part. Dudes and non-binaries. I don't think I have anything camera or microphone wise aside from Donovan and his chips.
I do, but I'll keep them private and just hate you for it. You know, like I
Okay, it's very
You're a
productive.
proper Midwesterner. That's
Yeah.
fine.
It's right.
smile
Right.
at you. That's how I was raised.
I prefer to see as many dogs and or babies on camera as possible if you have access to
Cool.
any of those
I
creatures.
have
or if you
access to
cats
none
that
of
can-
those.
Wait.
Yeah.
Okay.
What kind
Any
of
kind of
babies?
pets.
Oh, you need to show the babies, and I need to see.
That's what I
Boots.
got off camera to do, is to give them
They're
love. So
babies?
let me introduce you.
Oh my god.
Can I? Where's your camera? There he is. Okay.
So
Oh.
No.
this is baby Perona. She has
Oh
a
my
brother.
goodness.
She was just in the middle of a nap, so I'm gonna go put her back and get her brother.
Okay. Like, I have a requirement that they be on camera as much as possible.
Okay.
Come here, Boots. Oh, the Boots, huh?
Boots is my favorite.
And this is Boots.
My goodness.
Come,
Oh,
Boo.
look at the ear
Adorable.
tufts. Oh my gosh.
Come,
Oh, that's so
Boo.
cute. Okay, yeah.
And they will probably be on camera as often as possible. They just chill right here
Babies.
usually.
Good.
I think you just need to
Need
sit
that.
back in your chair a lot so we can see that. Like, keep an eye on them.
Is the gentleman around right now?
No, Alfred is staying home for this week with the parents. He needed a break from them, so
Who's Alfred? Senior
Oh,
cat?
he is. I'll send pictures in the chat later if you want. But
Excellent.
he's
Yes,
my
please.
baby. He is my son. He's like 2 years old, maybe.
Baby.
And he's just the cutest thing ever. I love him with all my heart.
Okay. Well, you're gonna have to step up the wildlife game over there. We need something. Babies, human babies, cat
I
babies.
have
What do you got?
nothing. I literally have
I know.
nothing. I have no other. I am responsible for no other living beings that are not green and that do not grow in soil on
Okay.
purpose.
Sounds
No,
nice.
it is. It is. I had a roommate that just moved out a couple months ago, and she has a cat, and I love Streaker so much. I'm so happy that I no longer have any cat litter in my house. Okay. Like, I knew I was gonna be happy without any pets, but I was like, I'm probably gonna miss them come a few weeks, and I'll break down and I'll get one. No,
Nope.
I don't think so. I think that I will be without anything but plants for a very long time. It is so nice just to not have to be responsible.
Sounds really nice. I haven't had known that feeling for many, many years, but I dimly recall
Yes.
it.
uh, it's okay. You will never have that feeling again.
Yeah. Not ever, ever.
Yeah. That's
But
okay. I'll
okay.
take as
But, I
much of
mean,
that feeling for you as I possibly can. I'll
appreciate
just.
that. Send me little notes once in a while. Just tell me what it feels like. Just remind me.
I will. I
I
will.
will.
Oh,
Bow tie.
this cat.
Ooh,
I'm always
sweetie.
here.
So fluff.
He
He's
just
so
got a
fluffy.
haircut. That's what the first one is he just got a haircut. So
Okay.
he's not as fluffy anymore. But yes, he is a little fluff ball.
Hmm.
um,
Baby.
not that I plan to put this stuff in here, but I just like to know where people's lines are. Like harm to pets, harm to animals, like all that stuff. I mean, it's all in the consent form, so y'all can
Yeah.
I'll be
fill that out.
upset, but I won't be triggered.
Okay, that's the
Yeah.
important part. Um, no, you know what? You just don't know what Cthulhu's gonna do. So,
Right. I mean, like if like a not heavily medicated or medical themed thing would be nice. Like not like a haunted
okay,
hospital with like.
okay,
Ooh, I'll put this out here, but like body disfiguration, that's another thing. Just let me know of any kind to anything or any living thing. I don't do well with body disfiguration. So that would just be another like give me a heads up and I'll just off.
I mean, so a lot of this stuff is just really easy for me not to include, so that no one has to not be a part of the game in order to be a part of the game. Like that is my goal actually, is to make a story where everyone can be a part of the game at all times.
Right.
Because for most of the time, people's lines and veils are not things that we can still play. And it's fine. Um. And okay, so right before we get into character creation stuff, I just want to say, well, I just want to make sure everyone understands all of our safety tools. So anytime I run horror, I like to have a good amount of safety tool stuff, because we just don't know when shit's gonna come up. Especially with horror, I find it's much easier for people to get triggered because we're sometimes in kind of high octane scenarios. Um, so I've already explained lines and veils. I have emojis for green, yellow, red, which I listed there. And every once in a while, if I sense something is off, I will just ask for a check-in. When I will just ask you to put one of those emojis down to make sure everyone's cool. You can always private message me or put it in the group chat. Doesn't matter. Door's always open. For any of that at all, consent forms there. You can send it to me, or you can just put it up there. You can put your name on it or not. I don't care. Um, if you want to do it anonymously, it's totally fine. And then at any time, anyone can do a script change. So that's a rewind, pause, or fast forward. So if you're like, wow, really didn't know these were going to be the consequences of this action, I would like to rewind this moment and start over. Always here for a retcon. I don't care for what it is. Like, it could be, several sessions prior that you're just like, wow, could we change what happened in that moment so that this doesn't happen? Like, totally fine with that. Always here for rewinding, retconning, pausing if we ever need to take a break. Totally cool. Or fast forward where it's just like, we will just fast forward. We'll just be like, this is what happens. And now we're at this other place. It's always totally fine. Um, Or if we're just like, you know what, can we just change scenes right now and just not even know what happens here? Happy to do that too. So if you put down the X or do an X card, private message me. We're in the chat wherever. Say it out loud. I don't care. We can also just like move on to a completely different spot. Um, so any of those are cool. Does anyone have any safety tools that I haven't listed that you're like, I'd really like this to be in here?
Truth be told, this is the most in-depth safety tool like session I've ever dealt with. So this is great. I love this. I didn't know I needed some of these words and phrases.
They like the honest to God truth is I've never had an X card pulled. I have never had anyone. We've had pauses, but I've never had anyone want to, um, at least in a horror game, I've never had anyone want to retcon or fast forward anything. Um, so like I don't use these tools most of the time, but I think that it's really important. Like, when I didn't use these safety tools, there were times where I wished I had these safety tools, and now that I have the safety tools, I almost never need them. And I think it's because we're just more open about the communication about stuff, which means we don't run into those things as often anymore. Um, so that's that's reality. It's like, actually, I don't expect us to ever use these, but if we do, we have the tools at our disposal. It's like it's like the difference between doing IKEA furniture with a bit that is like the hexagon shape versus trying to do everything by hand. Like, one just goes so much faster. Like, you are muted, George.
Oh, it's okay. I oftentimes make comments to myself that don't necessarily need to be broadcasted, so it's okay.
Okay. Cool. No, that's totally fine. Um, and then is everyone down with this being streamed?
Yeah.
Okay, because that was the other. Uh, Casey, as long as you are down for it, I'm just gonna let you deal with all that.
Yep. No, I do it every Sunday, so
Right.
it's all set up and ready to go.
Awesome. So Casey will be running the stream stuff. If you want to be paying attention to chat, you totally can. You can answer people there. Uh, Scott was like, I want this to be as close to a home game as possible so that the audience is mostly us and not actually interacting with the audience outside. So we probably aren't going to like stop in the middle of game to answer a query or something in the comments. But if you want to be paying attention to the stream to answer comments and text, feel free to do that. If you do not want to do that, don't do that. Like, that is entirely up to you.
I'll probably only do it on scenes that my character's not involved in.
Sure, absolutely. All right, cool beats. So let's roll some characters, unless anyone has anything that they want to talk about.
I've been charging these 6-sided dice since you said characters earlier.
I'm a bad
Yeah.
player, and I already rolled a character while we were doing some of this, and I'm
Oh
so
my
sorry.
god. I got my big old chonker dice for this one.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. All right. So where's this book thing?
Yeah,
that
what
I am-
page?
It's like page 10 to page 11.
Thanks.
We do have so the character sheets that are they in the materials?
I think you did,
Yes.
yeah.
Paul did. I will not take credit for that. That is almost second edition. There are some, I believe that there are some skills that are a little bit different on that character sheet. So just so you're aware of that.
Yeah, they didn't add toxicology and cryptography until the next edition, but
Got it.
they're on the sheet.
Yeah. So we could not make. Well, I had entire communities hunting for a 2e character sheet, and they do not exist. So there you go. But you do have access to a character sheet. Feel free to print or use PDF. I don't care. I am going to ask for backstories. They can be anything from a 5-point bulleted list giving me the most important information to, 5 pages on it. If you give me more than 5 pages, I will read it.
But judge heavily.
Like, I will not do the professor thing of like, I'm going to stop reading at page 5. But your backstory will come to bite you in the ass even more if you give me more than 5 pages.
That's just more knives for the DM.
Yeah, it's so many more knives. But yeah, so I do like backstories. It allows me to weave some people together and do some interesting things, and I will use your backstories. So however much or however little you'd like to give me is totally fine.
Okay.
Creating an investigator. There we are.
Mm-hmm. Rolled on 3d6 for strength.
Yeah, so this is a percentile die game, so for a lot of your rolls in the game itself, you'll be rolling under a certain percent. So some of these are going to be like roll these d6 and then times them by however many numbers.
So that's strength.
I'm sorry, Paul.
Are you cool with dice, or do you want us to roll it online so you can see?
Oh, no. I do not care. Please, if you would like to roll it online, you can roll it online. If you would like to use your real clackety clacks, please do that. I am a real clackety clack person. I really hate rolling online. I have not found any dice rollers that I'm like, this makes me feel like I have agency. So, yeah.
I'm not strong.
You are not strong?
I'm not strong. Well, what's funny is I rolled a 7 for strength, but a 10 for power. So I'm interested to
Yes.
see.
So I'm sorry, what do we roll for this test?
Yeah.
For strength, it's 3d6.
Mm-hmm.
3d6.
On it's 3d6. There's a couple other ones, but some of them are modified. But strength is the first one, and that's 3d6.
Size.
And then size is 2d6 plus 6.
7, 13.
One a big boy.
Int 2d6 plus 6. 1. 5. 11.
How do you know what to roll for all these?
I'm trying to find the page so that I
on
can read them out
page
to you, Jen.
Yeah, it's on page 8 where it starts, where it gives you each stat.
Strength. Okay, so yeah, so you're gonna roll your strength 3d6, Jen, and add them up.
Okay, got that.
8,
On is 3d6.
14.
You're just gonna add them up.
App is 3d6.
Size is 2d6 plus 6.
10.
And so is intelligence.
Education. 2, 8, 14.
So Leia, this
Yeah.
seems like it's up to you as the keeper's discretion. Pharmacist is not on the list of positions. Could I be a pharmacist? My character.
Sure.
Cool.
Jen, power is 3d6. And so is dex.
Insanity.
And so is appearance.
I think.
Thanks, Leia.
When you're done with that, let me know.
Equal to luck roll. So, looking at sanity points, it says that your sanity is equal to luck roll, and that's power times 5.
Yes.
So I just wanted to make sure, so that would be 50.
Yep.
For
Ooh.
him. For Luck. Um.
Okay, I'm caught up, Leo.
Okay.
I can just bring this up for my
Education.
damn self.
So education
Okay.
is 3d6 plus 3.
Okay.
And then sanity and luck are going to be the same number.
Yep.
It's going to be your power times 5.
Okay, got that.
Okay. So those are all your base stats. Basically.
I'm just trying to find idea and knowledge right now.
It's like a really...
Okay,
There
so
are other... Oh, go ahead.
oh,
Go.
so your idea is going to be your intelligence times 5.
Okay.
Your knowledge is education times 5.
Thank you. No. There we go.
And then your hit points, Jen, are going to be your size plus your con divided by 2. What the fuck is your size?
Size
Is that...
We rolled it. It's one of them.
24.
It's like SIZ.
Okay. Yes. Yeah.
You
2d6.
said
Okay.
hit points was size plus con divided by 2?
Yes.
Do you round up or down on that?
Up.
Wow, really? They let you roll up in Call of Cthulhu? I would have expected it to be down.
70 times 5. 85.
And
Odd
Jen,
combo of a high. Oh, go ahead.
your dodge score is going to be your dex times 2.
Where's dodge?
It's in the dex section.
Is Dex just 3d6? I missed that one
Oh,
somehow.
yeah. Yep. So
I'm not seeing
yes.
dodge.
It's on the skills list. Like it's
Skills.
down with the skills.
Oh, okay, got it.
That's Dex times 2?
Mm-hmm. But if you choose to do some other things, so like that's just if you take no experience in it or anything, like you're just gonna normally for dodge dex times 2, but that might all be altered
Got it.
as you choose some stuff. So y'all get to move 8 meters per round. I don't know if you want to put that anywhere, but that is normal human. Which is altered based on terrain and wounds and things like that at my discretion. They give a lot of power to the keeper in this game.
Yeah.
So, am I understanding that like 10 to 12 is average numbers for a lot of these?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you think about it, 18 is the maximum, so I would consider half of that to be average.
Okay.
And then, Jen, you're gonna choose what you do for a living. On page 10 at the bottom, there's a list of skills available per occupation and also has each of the occupations. One thing about changing what you do, George, is I'm not sure what skills you'll have access to.
Could I use doctor?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. do love how all of these like are just like nah, they're all squishy.
Hmm.
Like basically. Dilettante, any 5 skills,
I
choose
know.
at will.
I'm leaning towards that. Cause like Paul said, like I do research in real life, and I don't want to play like a professor, or I don't want to be a private eye because ACAB, and uh, like
Oh, private eyes are ACAB.
I guess
If they support the police, they aren't private eyes. This
I
is
thought
what
that they would have
media
to.
has taught me.
I thought that they sort of like worked with them a lot, even if they were privately.
If Jessica Jones is not ACAB, I don't know who.
That's true.
I don't think. If Harvey is not fucking ACAB, I don't know who is. There's not a single media private eye that I would be like. I think in real life, probably private eyes can be considered cops, but in media,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
private eyes are fuck society. I'm gonna do my own thing. Like.
So I'm gonna.
Oh, go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry. I
No,
need to
go
throw
ahead.
this out here in case I lose you guys. We have a severe thunderstorm warning in our area, and
Oh.
we're notorious for dropping power when that happens. So
Sure.
if you lose me for a short little bit, I'll be joining back again on my phone, but it would take me a few minutes to get back on.
Yeah, no worries.
I guess Jen and Paul, what kinds of characters were you thinking based on your roles?
Kind of wanted to be sort of as working class as possible, but turns out I'm so highly educated.
I know, that's what happened to me. I wanted to be like this guy that saw something and got dragged in, but then I rolled a 7 on int. And like,
Yeah. I'm like really smart and really well educated, and I'm not sure now.
I roll weirdly well for me, and I have like high scores in strength and size, but then I have an 8 in constitution. So I'm trying to figure out how that translates into a body. Like, she's big, she's strong.
I almost imagine that like she gets sick easily.
Yeah, or something. She's got like weak lungs or something, or like a
8's only 1 off of average. I mean, that's not that bad.
yeah.
And
But-
also, like,
Mm.
I would consider like strength and size does not necessarily mean endurance,
Mm-hmm.
right?
True,
Like,
yeah.
so when I think about constitution, that's like, can you take a punch? Like, I've seen some muscly guys that I bet I could punch and take down. Like, just because they're muscly
Yeah.
doesn't mean that they have any constitution. So that, I mean that's up
Yeah.
to you, right?
I was thinking I might do a private eye just because I think that would be fun. Try not to overthink.
George, you know this character. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, I love Jessica Jones so much. I'm actually rewatching it right now.
Love that.
So, like the
Uh,
7th time through.
George, I'm thinking like I might just do a modern version of Reason and have him be like a camp scout, boy scout leader type of thing. So like he's really knowledgeable in the outdoor stuff.
So like scouting was huge in the 80s.
Yeah, that's
so,
what I'm
like,
thinking.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna be Reason because I fucking love him.
That would be fucking perfect. I love that. You have not met this character yet, but I'm excited for you to meet Edward.
Can't wait.
We're going for scissor hands or colon.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna go with D. None of the above. But... though he probably comes across a lot more like a scissors hands than a Collins. I rolled like really high for intelligence and education. So
We just have a very educated party, is what I'm hearing.
I would say so, but I also like stressing like different literacies because like I don't
Yes.
imagine that Reason went to any formal education outside of like going through all of like the Boy Scout things, and like he did a lot of survival training in the community, but never went to like school like outside of high school.
I think a more contemporary game might acknowledge that too, right? That education can mean grew up on the streets and knows the city really well, or like learn to trade. It doesn't have to mean
or like just studied under a master of some degree.
Right.
I don't not think that highly educated needs to be highly educated in the academy,
Mm.
or in the academic academy, for sure. If you want to be highly educated but not a part of the academy, I don't care.
Mm.
We can work with that. And if that means we need
Educated on
to like, yeah, I mean, if that means we need to like move your skills around a little or whatever, I'm here for that too. All right, so Jen, you're gonna take your education and multiply it by 15. That's gonna be the number of percentile points you may add to the skills listed under
Nice.
your occupation.
Sorry, one more time. Education times 15.
Education times 15.
Okay. And you said the points. So, can you just the skills that you were talking about? So like fast talk, this, that, and the other thing. So we could put up to that many
So
spread out across those things.
yes.
Okay, and we can only do the points and the skills that we chose for our.
Yes.
Okay.
You'll get a smaller pool of points to put in any skills right after that.
Yes.
Okay. Just wanted to.
So, Kate, so what professions do we have right now? Because I'm like George, I like to
Yeah.
I like to round out a class or round out a group.
So
I
we've
think-
got
God.
a doctor/pharmacist, which is George. We've got a private eye. Jen's gonna be a private eye. And what are you, Casey?
So I'm torn between either being like a Boy Scout camp counselor or just like a park ranger type thing. I'm thinking since you like having creepy little kids, I'm gonna go with camp counselor, just so he has to deal with like his kids turning. I guess. Just to give you those sorts of.
So which one of the which one of the
dilettante
occupation dilettante? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's really fine. Dilettante camp counselor, solid.
Sweet.
Struggling with the list of skills because obviously it got a little messed up in the PDF, and there's like multiple skills on one line. And I'm trying to figure out where to break up spot, hidden, handgun, attack. Do you think it's spot, hidden, handgun, attack?
What?
Oh,
Or spot,
wait,
hidden,
hold on.
handgun?
Hold on. Let me go.
Spot hidden is one skill, and handgun attack is another skill.
Okay.
My PDF looks normal.
Yeah, mine does too.
Uh-oh. Cthulhu is
Mine
here.
has multiple skills on one line, so it's like accounting, camouflage, credit, rating, fast talk, first aid, hide. So it's just
maybe you
fun
should
to, like,
re-download that
lessen up.
PDF.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
Because mine is not like that.
Really?
Yeah, it has nice columns.
Yeah,
The
it's
heck?
all very it's all very together.
Huh. All right, let me try to download it again.
That's wild.
One, two, three, four, five. Okay.
So I'm not quite sure how parapsychologist translates into the 80s. Maybe Fox Mulder, I'm not sure. But like I think I'd like a 1980s version of a parapsychologist. I think that might
If
be
your character is Fox Mulder, I'm super duper into your character.
Yeah,
Just
I
saying.
mean, like, yeah, absolutely. An 80s version of Parapsychologist, here for it.
Yeah.
Here for
I
it.
think that's what I'm going with.
Okay.
I guess technically that might be a Ghostbuster then.
Yeah, you could be a Ghostbuster.
80s. Who am I gonna call?
Yourself.
That's right.
And then just to confirm, what do we think is like what's the barometer for like being good at something? Like if I have 255 points to spare across these 5 skills, Is average like 25 versus like a 40?
Honestly, I have no idea what the average is. But just know that you're trying to roll under, so the average, I mean,
Okay.
is 1 to 100.
Yep. And
So
so we're looking at like a Warhammer type of thing.
yeah, so like if you have a 50, you have basically a 1 in 2 chance of doing the thing. I don't know that you're either going to be like good at 2 things, or you're going to be kind of shitty at more than 2 things. I think this game kind of calls you to be kind of shitty at whatever it is that you're doing. I'm not really sure it expects you to be very good at any of it.
Okay.
Nice.
Sounds good.
Sorry, y'all. I'm working on getting the internet back up so I can get camera back up and going.
You're good. And if we don't get to see your beautiful face, I will be tragically torn asunder. It would be so horrible. No. If we can't have you on camera, that's totally fine. Do whatever you need to do.
So did we come to an agreement yet about, are we townies or are we coming into town?
I don't think we ever answered that question.
'Cause we have, because you did say
Yeah.
you wanted us to sort of know each other already and have like some history and some ties, right?
Yes, yep.
So I'm deciding, and not everyone has. I don't think that we have to necessarily say that everyone has to be one or the other, but I think that Reason would absolutely be a townie, since I think he would have like, not, or I guess towny enough. Like I like the idea that because he has a southern drawl, so I like the idea that he grew up in the South and came here in adulthood, and probably what was I gonna say? Like maybe here for about 5 years time.
Alternatively, you could have been a camp counselor up here, like from the South, but you know, you did your camp counseling time up here during the summers or whatever.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna try to cheat and have the best of both worlds, where I'm like a traveling physician who like is originally from this town of 9,000, but has spent some time kind of traveling the country to help where they can, and has recently come back to town for this kind of story to unfold.
Okay, so
So I'd
you
like to
just.
imagine that.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
So I'd like to imagine that like Reason and myself have known each other off and on throughout our lives for that reason.
Okay. Yeah. So you're coming back to town, you know, and you
Yeah.
met the person at the coffee shop that you're gonna fall in love with, and we're gonna pretend at the start that this is a rom-com, but in fact it's Cthulhu. Is that what we're saying?
No. I'm gonna put in my player consent form later. I don't do well with NPC romance. I'm gonna just lay that
No, no, no,
out.
no, 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 no. We wouldn't actually do any of the NPC romance. That's no, it's fine.
I think I might change actually to author. Looking
Totally
at the
fine.
skills. Um,
Yeah.
but the one skill I'm taking is occult, so it's sort of similar. Like he gets to pick one skill that he's good at. So his book is about crazy occult stuff, and he's seen as a quack by the rest of the world.
Okay.
And he lives in this tiny town, and is a reasonably, I guess, marginally successful author.
Okay. Enough to live on, certainly.
Yeah.
Okay.
I assume we'll adjust the wealth rules later for inflation and cost of living in 1980, so that we don't have to all live on like $3,000 a year or something.
No, no, no. You have to live on $3,000 a year. That's required. No. Yes.
Wait, I'm an adjunct. Ugh.
That will be. Oh no. No, no. Oh, that is beautiful. I love this hat. No
Just
one
getting
can
in a
be an
character.
adjunct. That is too close to home. To
Yeah.
And it's just too sad.
I know.
We don't want our characters to have
Uh,
such sad lives.
So occulty.
Okay, so also for anyone who did not record this, your magic is the same as your power
Okay.
at the start. But then you lose them.
So just, I mean, this is to demonstrate Paul and I having a tolerance for creepy kids in games.
Mm-hmm.
Like my eldest just came into the hallway, which is dark, and like stood there for a while glaring at me and then left again. So like, I mean, that's just our life. Like I have no idea what just happened. Just like stood in the hall, glared at me for a really long time and then left again.
Teenagers are weird, what can we say?
No idea what that was, but yeah. So creepy kids is just is absolutely fine. You'd have to make a pretty creepy kid to bother us.
It's very funny because I cannot watch media that has creepy kids. Like I watched the
Really?
first like 3 minutes of Children of the Corn and had to turn it off.
Oh wow,
I could not do
that's
it.
amazing.
But creepy kids are all over my creepy games. Like,
Because creepy, it's just so effective.
yeah. Yep.
So just to confirm, so once you do the int times, 5, that could go into any investigator skill or combat, and combat is just in weapons.
Uh,
I'm just looking at
its skills.
I
Okay, so
remember
go ahead.
I remember that part's like weirdly worded because you just can't take combat skills as your main thing. So it's just sort of like the example of here you can now learn how to kill things. But those int points that you get are for any skill at all.
yeah, so you could put them into combat, or you could put them into anything else too. Let me look at the character sheet. I don't know what the numbers are after like accounting 10, anthropology 00. I don't actually know what those are for.
Those are your default numbers. Like you get that for free just for being alive, like in the 20s.
Oh,
Like
okay.
it would be like an unskilled check in D&D.
I got you.
Like anybody can try to use a camera, but you only have a 10% chance of doing it good.
I like how it's 10%. Like now it'd be like, well,
Right.
I know this opens up a can of worms that other people might not want to do, so like please just tell me no. But I have a tendency to be like, how can I make people more powerful? If anyone would like to take any of the things that have base points in them, say camouflage or climb, or drive automobile, which is hilariously 20. And decrease those base numbers to increase elsewhere, I would allow this.
Oh, I was like, I don't get what you mean, but then I realized, now I get it.
Yeah, so if you would like to have 0 in
Mhm.
camouflage and have 25 more points to put elsewhere,
Got it. And
you
then just
could
to
do that.
also to confirm, like, so for example, Reason's got, I put 30 points in treat poison, but that already has 5. Does that mean it's 35 or okay?
Yes. Yeah. So you should start at that number and then increase.
Got it. And sorry, I'm a dumb bitch. Can you explain the weapons thing one more time? Because pretty much, like, I've got 55 points I can put into, stuff outside of his thing, and I just want him to be good with a gun. Um, so, do I put, like, 55 in the attack percentage there, or. Sorry.
I think I need to look at the sheet y'all are actually looking at.
Here, I'll share my screen. One second.
Because I think it's different enough from mine. From
So, like,
the one that I have here.
over here it has the attack damage thing at the bottom. And then I was looking at this, that it says combat skills not trail enough include skills such as striking with the melee weapon or aiming a firearm properly. These are. It says it's not listed separately in the sheet, but it's at the bottom with weapons, and then it also. So over here, this is the part that I'm mostly looking at.
On page 16 and 17 is where you find like each weapon,
Got it.
and if you add points to melee, you add to the percentage for all of the weapons on that chart. And if you
Got
add
it.
points to shooting, you add it right onto the weapon. So like
Thank you.
under base chances, like if you don't have any skills, those are the chances that you're going to have to do
Got
it. But
it.
if you want to be good at it, you add points in like normal.
Okay.
I'm trying to find the combat skills. Why can't I find them?
I honestly think in this version they don't exist. Because you just like each weapon just has its own percentage. And then if you put your points in a melee weapon, you get that for all melee weapons. And if you put it in a shooting weapon, you get that for all the shooting.
Okay.
I'm just trying to see what the. Let's see on farm chance.
Okay. Wild. This is wild time.
I'm glad someone brought up the base chances, because I thought I was starting from 0 on all of these and it was looking really sad. I'm really glad someone said, hey, you have a base chance in some of these.
Yeah. There are some of those things that I don't know yet because I literally I did not make a character. So how do y'all want to know each other? I think that's.
Sorry, just one last thing.
Yeah. No.
Because you mentioned putting skills in melee, but I'm not seeing a melee skill.
Yeah, so if you go down to weapon and you just put down
Melee.
like at this point if you just put down melee, shooting or hand to hand,
Got it.
those are the things. If you want to put down a specific weapon, you can. We'll just say like if that's a shooting weapon, then you have that in all shooting weapons.
Okay.
Also, George, are you here with us?
I am. Yeah, it went back out again. So
It's all good. All good. I just wanted to make sure. I hadn't heard your voice in a half second, so I wanted to make sure you existed. So we have at least 3 people in town. So we want to say that at least everyone's in town currently. how do y'all know each other?
What kind of author were you again, Paul?
I write about occult stuff that I'm pretty sure is true, but nobody else believes me.
I would say that Reason is a fan of that stuff. Just like, and I don't think that he. I think that he reads it mostly for like spooky campfire stories, to tell the kids. Um,
I'll take I'll take customers where I can. I honestly probably travel around to like parapsychological conventions and weird places to sell my book because there's no Amazon and my publisher doesn't believe in me. I'm not self-published though. Not self-published. Um,
So is your character from this town then, Paul, or have they just traveled here to investigate something?
I think he's always been here.
Please don't eat the 10-sided.
It's not me. She is talking to the dog. No. How old? I think one good question for how we know each other is how old is everybody going to be? Because that changes it a lot for me, like who we would like know and how.
Reason's
And I don't really
42.
care.
Reason is 42.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 40s,
Mhm.
30s, 40s?
Cool.
I mean, if someone wanted to play a super duper old person, I'm down for that. Just like a 9-year-old.
I was thinking
Right.
about being old. Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to be old, be old.
Yeah. Awesome.
I'm gonna be the stickler here and be like, I want to be something 20 something. I'm sorry. I
That's
was
fine.
thinking maybe like 29 or something. I'll still be in the low 30s, but
Oh, okay, all right. I thought maybe if you were gonna be in your 20s, you went to camp, that would Reason was your camp counselor.
Was your counselor, yeah?
I imagine how
Oh
me
my
and Reason
God.
know each other. And Casey, you can tell me if this is wrong, but I imagine that like my character acts as like the first aid person on the campsite. Everyone like when the camp is around.
Mhm. No, I'm here for that.
Also, I'm unfortunately really dumb. Can somebody please tell me how I can edit this character sheet so I'm not writing it in a Google Doc by hand?
Oh my God.
You can print it or you can use Paint.
Oh yeah.
No.
Yeah, just take a screenshot and MS Paint it.
Yeah. That's unfortunately we could not find a form fillable.
Well, I'm going to bug you later on to print a couple of sheets, right? Because I like my sheets to be on paper.
Yeah.
An Excel sheet also totally acceptable. If you want to make one of those.
I would like to point out as an old man in both character and reality, if you choose somebody who is over 30 or older, you actually get extra points to spend.
Oh, nice.
So for every 10 years past the age of 20, you get one more point added onto your education, and then that changes how many skill points you got at the beginning.
That is good to know.
And since I'm 65, I'm gonna have to talk like this. Where's my pants? No, I'm gonna metagame it. I'm gonna say I'm 70. Ooh, yeah.
Oh my
That's
God.
right. Education is now 25. And since it's not really a long-term campaign, this doesn't really matter. But I really love like how leveling your skills up in this game works compared to most games. Because like, there's no like character growth here, right? Because like we're all just gonna slowly decline into insanity and like get murdered. Um, but like the little boxes on the sheet are for like when you do the skill really, really well or really, really poorly, you get to check the box, and then the GM, and then like you might learn that skill by the like the next game. Like you might go up by 1d6 points in it. I don't know, with only 4 or 5 play sessions, I don't think that'll really come into play much because we're not that, we're not that smart. Like, metagaming, like getting all the skills, but
Sure.
I really
Yeah.
like that because it doesn't mean like infinite character growth. It just means like, oh, every once in a while you might get a tiny bump, like a little bit better.
Mhm. Mhm.
Sorry, did you say int or edu for his?
You add to your EDU.
Got it. So let's see.
To imagine what a 70-year-old looks like in the 80s. It's different than that,
It is actually different than now.
right?
There's a
Yeah.
university in Florida that has
30 more.
proven that people are aging slower now than they were before,
Nice.
and which is wild. It was a
Yeah.
wild thing. Like watching the Cheers episodes and recognizing that they're all in their 30s is wild. Like the actors are in their 30s. Because today we have actors in their 30s playing high schoolers regularly.
Right.
And I'm like, what is happening? You could be a spry 70-year-old,
Oh yeah.
you know?
It justifies my 7 strength, so.
There you go. There you go. What time of year do y'all want to start in?
Ooh, autumn.
I was
That's
just
an
about
easy
to
one.
say.
Autumn. Okay, all right. So the camp is shut down right now.
Or there could be like a fall camp, like when.
I could imagine like a weekend camp type of thing.
Okay.
And I imagine like during the downtime, like I imagine Reason lives like permanently on campgrounds, so like he'll run, uh, you know, not day events, like after school events or evening events, that are one off things, but not a full on program. Um,
I'm pretty sure I live in a place that used to be a functioning farmhouse, but is not anymore. Now it's just my house with a tiny garden and a typewriter at a windowsill.
Where does our private eye live? Like, what do you do in town? You are muted, Jen.
I think she has a kind of crappy little office slash apartment. And I think she just kind of knows people in the group because she's investigated different things at different times in different places. There's some weirdo walking around camp, so she knows Reason. Maybe she helped Paul's author investigate something for his book. So I think she kind of just, everybody in town kind of knows her as the person to call if there's something weird or troubling going.
Okay.
But she's not like super, I'm not adding anything to her credit score. She just kind of gets by.
Well, we don't have credit scores in 1983 yet, so.
Okay, that's true. There you go. So she's not rich, but she's not poor either. She's comfortable just kind of doing this thing and kind of being a fixture around town.
Yeah. There is a credit rating though on the sheet for the 1920s even. It's not like your official like
It's one of the skills under private eye. Like you have a credit.
Oh, I didn't realize that. It's a part of the rules.
yeah.
Wild. How do you figure that out? Income and.
I was just about to look into that.
Oh,
So
that's
it gives
interesting. So there's not a credit rating on the. There's not a credit rating on this sheet on the 1983 sheet.
Oh no, this must be like 3rd edition.
Really?
Yeah. So the sheet the sheet y'all have is definitely 3rd or above. But it's not too far off, so we don't have credit ratings like that.
Oh.
So I'm seeing that income is 1d4 times 1,000, then add 2,000 to that result.
Okay, so I'd like you to all roll what 1980s two. Let's go with 2d10.
I'm also laughing at this because authors, instead of rolling 1d4, roll a 1d6. Like, I think that's
Well,
funny.
that's
All right.
amazing.
So let's go with everyone who's not an author is gonna do 2d10 plus 10,000. Our author will do 2d12 plus 12,000.
8, 13,000 plus 10,000, 23,000.
To get my 10-sideds up off the floor. Someone attacked them.
And then with spells known, is it okay if we have like a non-magical character, or do we need to pick spells? And
So you have a magic score no matter what. Whether or not you use magic is up to you. Please hold 1 moment. Spells.
Casey, what page is that on? Spells known.
well, it's at the bottom of the character sheet
Oh,
that I was
So
looking
we're
at.
trying to find it in the book right now. Is actually
Yeah.
what's going on. I passed all the fucking skills. Where are you?
It's on 56.
Thank you very much.
Or 54 is where the chapter starts, but then 56 is where it gets fun. I think as written, it's you don't start with any spells. You have to find the books in the game.
Okay.
And then there's like a list of books and languages you have to know, and then you can like start casting spells. But the spells are all bad.
Yeah.
They're all calling on bad things to happen. Like bad things happen to you when you cast spells, which is exactly what I was doing to myself.
I'll say that
Like,
if you feel your character has uh learned a spell from someone or has read, like, has done a lot of reading on a lot of investigation or whatever, something like that, that you could know one spell of your choice at start.
I was gonna say
But we
Reason
will.
would absolutely not. I think the most he would know about magic is whatever he read from Paul's character's books, which I don't think goes into depth of the spells, but just says like, they can do spells that summon gods or make people talk gibberish. Like, so he'll be aware of them but not know them.
Just in case you missed it, George, if you feel like your character would know one spell, like someone's taught it to you, or you've read enough books that maybe you know one, that you could know a spell at start. And I'm doing that mostly because we're not playing a long game, so like we might find books, but like I kind of want to experience some of these mechanics. I think they're cool. So if someone feels like, you know. All right, Casey, I have a very serious question for you.
Okay.
What is one thing that our dear author friend definitely has on his person?
I'm.
And ask as many
I
questions about
know.
the character as you want to determine what you would
No,
like.
I already know. I want him to have a skull with odd runes on it that he found in the woods and has not reported to the local authorities. Because he's still not sure if it's a human skull or an animal skull, and he does not want it taken away from him.
I like this idea that this author cannot tell if this thing is a human skull.
Well,
Like, that's
like it could be like cracked, and it could
sure,
you can't
absolutely,
tell if
absolutely.
it's it's definitely like human. It's human enough where like it might be, but like there might be like a horn growing on one side, So
Yes,
I'm gonna let
absolutely.
Paul decide, what about the skull makes it human, but also not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, Paul, our private eye, you've done some stuff with our good private eye friend. You've needed backup a couple of times because you're like pretty sure you're gonna run into a monster, and you do, and the private eye is there to save you. So what is one thing that this private eye definitely has on her?
Wow. Um, I think she has one of those cool sticks that extends into like a club. Like it fits in her leather jacket. I'm not sure. Not sure how Jessica Jones you're going, but
Very
you've got
Jessica.
one of those sticks that is about 12 inches, but like when push comes to shove, you like flick that thing, and it's like 3 feet of pain. Yeah,
Yeah,
you have
3 feet of pain. All right. All right. Jessica Jones 2.0. You've had your fair share of scrapes and bruises. There is only a pharmacist and a veterinarian in this town. So you choose variously who you're going to go to depending on how many stitches you need, which means you know your pharmacist pretty well at this point. So what is one thing that our pharmacist definitely has on him?
Hmm. I think the pharmacist comes from a long line of doctors slash pharmacists slash medical people, and it goes way back to his great grandfather in the 20s, possibly great great. I don't know how many greats we need to get back to the 20s, but has some kind of non scary, like not upsetting medical tool um, that his great great grandfather carried, like maybe like a magnifying glass thing or I don't know, check your reflexes little hammer thing, something that his great great grandfather carried in his old timey doctor bag that made
I
it through the
love this.
generations.
I have the perfect item for this. Old
Okay.
timey
Excellent.
pharmacists and barbers used to be the same place,
It's
right?
true. Yes.
So I would love for him to have like one of those old timey like knives, essentially that they would use for bloodletting. Perfect.
Perfect. Yeah. We went to was it a pharmacology or just medical stuff, that like very disturbing museum in New Orleans, Paul? That
Oh
was
yeah,
about pharmacy stuff, wasn't it?
yeah, yeah. That was
Pharmacy
awesome.
slash medical. And it was just like exhibit after exhibit of like old timey medical stuff that like by the time we got all the way through it, I was like, I need a drink. It's very like upsetting things that just like it was very creepy, but
It is.
very cool.
It was upsetting how common a practice bloodletting is. What back in those days
Yeah,
is
yeah,
very.
yeah. And just like, if a person had a cold, we stuck leeches to their face. I mean, just like these sort of horrifying like medical practices that were very commonplace.
Yep.
We jammed this thing up their nose to figure out. I mean, it was really gross. But your bloodletting knife would probably fit right in that museum.
All right. Our pharmacist who carries around a 100-year-old bloodletting knife, and comes from a long line of weird medical practitioners. You you've been around as kids get scrapes and bruises, or tell you stories about all the creepy monsters in the woods. Um, and so you've had reason to no reason. Uh, and so
Please do not
yeah.
get Casey's ideas on puns.
Dude, I love his name for that because of just how many ways I could, he's the voice of reason and that dumb shit.
So what does reason carry? What is one thing that reason
Casey, I'll
carries?
leave this up to you,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
but I no,
Oh,
but it is either an old pocket watch, one of those like ones that opens up and stuff that has a family portrait of some sort with like members scratched out and etched out of it, or his infamous pair of whips. It's your choice.
His infamous what?
Pair of whips.
God, I'm gonna go with the pocket watch.
all right. Um, Lovely. All right. So, Private Eye,
Yes.
why did you have reason to see this skull that the author is carrying around? Like, how do you know about it? What's the story behind you figuring this out?
I think we were maybe working a case. She might have been with him when he picked it up, and he kind of picked it up really quickly.
Okay.
But she has a good score in spot hidden,
Okay.
so I think she probably saw it go into the pocket. And maybe she was even curious enough at one point if they were at the diner grabbing coffee or something, that she like snuck it out of his pocket and took a closer look.
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
Very curious about that little skull thing.
So as you picked it up and you're handling this skull, you got this weird sense of like a whisper that you can't really understand or really hear, but like like when someone's sitting a couple of booths away and they're kind of whispering to each other,
Yeah.
and you like want to know what they're saying, but you can't quite make it out. That's the feeling you get when you hold
Okay.
this item.
Hmm. Okay.
Um.
Now she's
All right.
very curious about it.
Is our author still here?
Yeah, sorry, I'm
Okay.
back.
No, you're totally fine, Paul. I just wanted to make sure before I called on you, and then you
Yep.
didn't exist. So, Paul, you have had cause to see this, 1920s, 1920s, bloodletting knife. Uh, why? How do you know about this bloodletting knife that our pharmacist carries around?
Well, I'm not sure how ethical our pharmacist is, but my back, I have a lot of pain sometimes. I mean, I'm getting up there, and so I will, bring in my prescriptions for my medication, but sometimes those prescriptions are obviously falsified, and we got into it one night pretty late, and he had come to the front of the store and was gonna leave, and I was like hassling him like an old man does, and I just I didn't like throw a punch because I'm not that guy, but I got a little riled up and I knocked into him, and his bag like fell on the floor, and this knife came out, and I was just like assuming that he was actually threatening me. I'm sure he wasn't as a player, but yeah, my old man author is pretty sure he was gonna knife me. So I have not actually asked him to fill my fake prescriptions since then. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
because that was a scary knife. Now I send away for them. They come in the mail in a brown paper bag. I had an oxy addiction before it was cool in the 80s.
Okay. That yeah, that's canon. Uh, has an oxy addiction. All right.
If it was
Um,
20s, I'd say it was opium, just, but old man
sure.
with a pipe. But
I mean, it could still be opium. At 70 years old, you were very much alive in the
that's true.
20s.
Yeah.
Like,
Hey, how many generations did you have to go back to get to the 20s, huh?
I mean, it depends on how early people had
I actually
kids,
was
right?
just doing
So,
that math. Because I was like, shit, like if Reason's 42 in the 80s, he's born in the 40s, his parents, like, would be born anywhere between like 1900 and 1920, depending on how old they had him. So.
absolutely.
I was
Yeah, I
10
think I was thinking how far back we'd have to go from today to the 20s, but like
Yeah.
80s to 20s is not that big of a trip, I guess.
Not that big of a trip, yeah, but
Yeah.
it could still be a
Yeah.
great grandfather.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Depending on just
Go
depending on
ahead,
how.
children young. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, all right. Yeah. Afraid of our pharmacist now because he carries around a bloodletting knife. All right, pharmacist. How do you know about this stick, this 3-foot stick of pain that our private eye carries around?
I think we're gonna just go on the fucking slightly unhinged pharmacist who slightly does shady shit plans. So, I imagine more than likely that our private investigator came in to do what they are known for, and that is to investigate some things. And unfortunately, they got a little up and personal with their 3 foot long like extendo pole staff thingy. They even gave him a good whapping.
Nice.
And make a note of that. Have used on pharmacists.
Yeah, I was about to say, what did the pharmacists do to deserve it? Because I need to know what did they do wrong? Did they?
I imagine it's more that they were just trying to be shady about their practices and weren't being upfront about things. And like, it's one of those things where like mom comes to ask you, like, oh, hey, I noticed you didn't do XYZ, blah, 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 blah. Mom already knows what you did. They're giving you an opportunity to be accountable. And I just wasn't accountable. And so I got a good weapon.
Didn't happen.
I love that.
Trying to figure out who's supposed to know about your weird ass pocket watch, Casey. I think I messed it up somewhere.
I think you gave them like trifecta of each other.
I
Yeah.
did.
Mm.
Which is not what I wanted to do, but it's totally fine. Author, how do you know? How do you know about
Reasons
how do
pocket
you know
watch.
about this weird ass pocket watch with family members scratched out of it?
Um, well, I think that maybe I was investigating something in the camp at one point, and we had a series of coffees over a 3 or 4 week period at one point, and I mean, they were just like fiddling with it. Like I think maybe I might have been being a little bit boring at this coffee, and rambling, and I'd lost my train of thought, and but then like to fiddle with your watch, fiddle with your pocket watch while I'm talking isn't very very nice, and but yeah, I caught a glimpse of it then, yeah, and I didn't bring it up because family issues, that's personal. I wouldn't I'd never talk about that sort of thing. My name is Hank now, by the way. I don't know why.
Hank is totally great.
You guys have given me such a good idea. I had like points set aside for weapon. I wasn't sure what I'm gonna do. I'm absolutely making his bloodletting knife be his weapon of choice
It's
from now on.
perfect.
Lovely. Love
Nice.
that. Does anyone else have a name besides Hank?
The name's Edward Newgate.
Reason Cloud
I like the
Fang.
name part.
What's your last name, Reason?
Cloud Fang.
What's Jessica's name? I mean,
Working. I'm working on it.
Take your time. You don't need one. I just wanted to make sure I got them down if we had them. So if you don't have one right now, it's totally not a big deal at all. Let me know when you do.
Okay, thanks.
All right, so that helps us give a little bit of flavor to these characters, how we all know each other, and what's going on. Um, I will probably ask people some other questions. I'll probably, I'm just gonna make a character question channel.
Can we do rumors? Because I would love to make a rumor for everyone to make a rumor about each other.
Oh, that would be
Yeah,
awesome.
like absolutely. Let's let's do
Because I love
rumors.
that
Who do you
about
want to make a rumor? Who do you want to make a rumor about?
How about me to not Jessica because I haven't had any interaction with choosing,
Sure.
inventory or, stuff like that. Jess to Edward, Edward to Hank, was it?
Yep.
And then Hank to Reason.
Awesome. Rumors.
And I want to make the rumor. Or can you just remind me how long Not Jessica's been here for?
I think she grew up here.
Okay. I'm going to make the rumor that like you could choose whether it was like growing up or like college age, but like before she officially started her career, there was someone who mysteriously died, and she investigated their cause of death, and it was ruled out to be like an accident, like they fell off the top of a building. But rumor has it is that that person she also had beef with. So maybe she isn't as innocent as she claims to be, and ruled it as that to exonerate herself.
I like it.
So was that not Jessica to
That was
Edward?
that was reason to. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, now.
Next.
Yeah.
Next
Yeah, that
is
was
Sorry.
next is me to Edward.
okay.
Well, I think the obvious thing for the pharmacist would be that there was a rumor that maybe there are some things Edward has for sale that aren't strictly over the counter, that maybe he is brewing himself.
Under the
And no one can see under the counter, but no one can seem to prove it. But the rumor is that if you need some more illicit substances, Edward's the place to go.
And then I have to come up with one for our reporter, correct? Or our journalist or author. Sorry. Yes. So this is one part I was going to include in my character anyway, so this will be fine. But I want him to be like the super like person who tries to disprove anything supernatural, anything of like the mystical persuasion or occultist. And so I think what he's going to come up with is he's going to be pretty sure that it's very odd for an author to not leave their hometown to make a story of some sort. So the fact that they're still bumming around town, he's going to think that they're trying, that he's like, this is the first person he actually believes might be an occultant of some sort.
Nice.
And then Hank to our good friend Reason.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to speak ill of the dead, but there was a kid that died at camp a good, I don't know, 10 years ago now, and it was a real tragedy. And it'd be a shame if anybody ever found out, if the rumors were true, that it was from dereliction of duty, and that kid was left alone, maybe as a punishment for doing something, or I don't know. But that kid, it was a real shame what happened to that kid, and I'm pretty sure I heard that it was Reason's fault. Not that I'd ever talk about it directly with anybody in the room. Talk about it with other people. Yeah, definitely.
I love this idea that you're actually just a gossip like that, like
God.
that's very solid. I like that a lot.
And just the
PhD
timing,
fiction.
because I DM'd Jen about something, and so now you know a little bit about his backstory. That I'm just like, man, that's such a mean thing to tie it into.
Yeah, that's
with
rough,
that
man.
timing.
When you know the backstory, yeah.
Yeah. Could be lots of things. Maybe you just got mad and you stormed off and you tried to calm yourself down and then the kid fell off a cliff. Who knows? Could be anything. It'll come up eventually, I'm sure.
Boy.
For now, I have you labeled as not Jessica, Jen. But
I
when you
think
pick a
I'm
name,
gonna go with I think Iris Cooper.
Iris Cooper. All right. There we go. Iris Cooper is a good name. I like that.
Thanks.
Uh, are there any other things like this that y'all would like to do to help each other create character?
Ooh. So, because we want our characters to be connected, I'm going to pose what I call the like character web, where essentially we're each going to create our like two NPCs for our background, right? And then we each pick an NPC from somebody else's background that our character would know.
Nice.
All right. Well, do you want to create your NPCs first? Spill out this town. Do you know the veterinarian?
You know what? If you're going to give me the easy out, sure. I know the veterinarian in town. We'll say that they're what we were going to say. Let's say they're like let's do like half sister. They share a mother. How about that? So there's that. There's a veterinarian. And then let's also prose. Hold on, you're gonna have to give me a second to think on this. Oh, you know what? I've got the perfect one. You guys would know, or like, okay, so one of his good friends, Walter C. Dornain, is a butler for, let's say, like the mayor of the town or something like that. Somebody important. It's like his best friend. That will be a good choice.
So now we go around and we say, like, how does each person know one of these NPCs?
No, so I've created two there, right?
Right.
Two NPCs. Everybody else would go around and create two of their NPCs real quickly. And then we get a choice. So what is it? There's going to be three of us. So that's six NPCs we get to pick from. We get to choose one of those that our character would have a relationship with.
Okay, I got you. All right. So who's the next person that has some ideas for NPCs?
I've got one that I'm borrowing from a friend who gave me permission to use this character, and I think it's great. And his name is Stinkbomb Steve. And he pulls pranks in towns. Like, he probably runs, like, the local joke shop. Kids love him, parents hate him. But I think he's also somewhere where you could buy stuff, like, just, like, random things, with the prank joke shop, you've got, I'm sure there's like fake fingers, but like, maybe if you like, go late enough at night and knock on the door, with a certain code, he has like actual fingers for like witchcraft or stuff like that.
What's that guy's name? I'm sorry.
Stinkbomb Steve.
Stinkbomb Steve.
People are going to be fighting for knowing that one.
I'm gonna post all of these in the NPCs channel too.
Okay.
So who's your second there, Casey?
I'm trying to think of another.
We can also move on to someone else too. Like
Yeah,
we
move
can
on.
each
I'll
do
do
one
a.
and
Here, I'll pop two quick. Orion McGinnis is a a good old war buddy of mine. We served together in the war to end all wars. Second time, and part two, and he is the owner operator of a Irish pub on Main Street, mostly catering to tourists. But he and I are very close still. We exchange stories and stuff all the time. The other NPC is Cheryl Smith. She is in her 40s, and she's a police officer in town. And probably about 20 years ago, we sort of had that like grumpy old man and adopted daughter like vibe going. But that was like 20 years ago now, so she's really busy being, an authority figure in town, and I'm sort of a wacko now. So we don't really talk much now, but we did. And she's a good solid citizen. Yeah.
All right. Veterinarian's name?
TBD. I have a second NPC if you would permit this one. But it is a crow named Janice, who has been known to pick up shiny things and, like, sometimes you get, like, really cool stuff and, weird stuff, these odd little tokens with just weird runes on them. But if you, sort of pay her with other shiny things and or food, she's been known to reward you.
I love that. Absolutely here for that. Means we're down to you, Jen.
Oh, yes. Okay, so just to make sure I don't like double what anyone else has. But let's say Lillian Smith. She runs the local tiny paper, and she is anywhere between 100 and 300 years old. She's chain smoked her entire life, so she talks like this. And she has a zero tolerance for bullshit. But because she has been around so much in this town where some weird shit happens, she knows a whole lot more than she's letting on. So if pressed, she could probably share a whole lot of information about weird happenings around town, and odd stuff, but she does not volunteer that information.
All right.
And see, who don't we have? How about we'll have a mayor whose name is like Dale McSlick, who is like very young and very good looking and has no idea what he's doing as a mayor, and got elected just because it's kind of like a popularity contest and he ran almost as a joke. So he's completely useless, has no idea what's going on, and just likes to have parades and wave. And he's convinced he's doing an awesome job. What about Dale McSmarmy? Got more syllables. It's better.
I like that we have both the mayor and the butler of the mayor. It makes me happy. All right. Oh, we already have Janice the Crow. All right. All right. So now Everyone choose one of these NPCs that you did not make to know.
Call Janice.
You call Janice. All right. Janice is taken. How do you know Janice?
Janice comes to my windowsill while I'm sitting at my desk with my feet up thinking about a case. And I have the window cracked because it's hot. Janice comes to the windowsill and I put some crumbs out, some snacks out. And sometimes she leaves me something in return.
How old is Hank's war buddy? Like, also old?
Yeah, we both were in
Also-
World War II, so pretty old.
Yeah,
How old?
I like to
60 to
think.
75.
Yeah, I like to think that Reason is drinking buddies with him, and he'll, in exchange for listening to his old war stories, Reason will sort of let him know of like, because like Reason's like an old soul sort of deal. So I imagine that with Orion, like he still wants to like be involved, but needs to know like what stuff is like too rambunctious for him in his old age. So Reason has a finger on the pulse of what's worth going to and what's not.
Nice.
Okay, I call dibs on Stink Bob Steve. I imagine that I have like a 25 in chemistry, which isn't great, but it's also like a quarter of being perfect. So I imagine on the DL, they have like a side business where they share things together.
See, I think I know Lillian Smith, she who runs the local paper. Um, we met because she wanted to do like a puff piece on me, like around like some veterans holiday, and I was having none of that shit, and so we got into like some pretty heated arguments about it, and then we've grown to mutually hate and respect each other, um, you know, through that time.
I love that.
Just a small
Love
aside,
all
because I
that.
totally forgot about this. For Stink Bomb Steve, his self-made motto is "Silent but Deadly."
Nice. I think Lillian and Hank are having an affair. An old affair.
Wow. I might have to talk to the pharmacist then.
Oh,
He would definitely have something for that. Might not be FDA approved, but he has something for that.
Yeah, I don't think the little blue pills were around in the 80s. I don't know.
no.
All right. We have a new rumor. Lillian and Hank are having an affair. I will post other rumors there, rumors that you hear around town, for like anything that might be pertinent to the story. I like having rumors channel for that. Feel free to post rumors there too. Just make truths about the world. I'm all here for that. If you think of things, they can be about these NPCs or about other people in town. All here for y'all to flesh out whatever pieces of this you want to. All right, so we've been here for almost 3 hours. So unless we have something else that we really want to do, let's choose when our next, like when our actual proper session one will be, um, which will be streamed. I was thinking we could do the 11th, if everyone's okay with that. That would push us kind of into the semester to finish up this game. Is that okay?
That's fine.
Yeah, I think that it'll be early enough in the semester.
Yeah, because how many weeks did you want this to go?
So, Scott was looking for 5 sessions, so I was thinking this would probably go 1, 2, 3 until the 8th of September.
I can handle that, because I forget when UWM starts, but Oshkosh starts on the 7th, so I'd only be
Okay.
1 day in at that point.
Cool.
UWM starts late this year, isn't it? Like the 5th or 6th?
That would
Yeah.
track, so it would
That
still...
would make sense because the 5th is Labor Day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm feeling, if it goes 1 week into the semester, it's that syllabus day.
Okay. So, does everyone have Thursdays from the 11th to the 8th free? Are there any weeks that people are like, can't make it?
We can do
No.
that.
No, we can shift a thing. We got a thing on some Thursdays, but we'll move it.
Great. You all start with 100 points in scheduling because I had to do 0 scheduling. So, love you. Yeah. When I was like, yeah, me and Casey are going to do this, Casey was like, how do you feel about Thursdays? And I was like, I was literally texting you how about Thursdays at the same time. I was
Nice.
like, this is beautiful. Perfect. Love that when scheduling goes the way that you want it to, especially in TTRPGs. But yeah, I'm excited for these characters. This seems like a fun town. I'll choose a town with a campground close here. We'll do some Google Earthing, and we'll see what this town's all about. Replace some of our stuff, because obviously we have to have a veterinary clinic and an Irish pub, things like that. So, well,
Yeah.
maybe I can find a town that already has an
Got
Irish
work
pub.
cut out for you, that's for sure.
Yeah, so I will. So we've got about 2 weeks. I'd love a background for anyone who wants to write me one in that time. Even if, again, like just bullet points is totally cool, because I can weave some things together. Obviously, we already have some here, which is great. Especially if there are any secrets that you haven't let people know of here, or things like relationships that you haven't said out loud here that you want to kind of keep secret. I think one of the things that is, I think, missing from character creation, at least I haven't read it yet, is objects and things that you carry.
That's what I
I'm
was
kinda
thinking
here.
too.
Yeah, obviously you have the things that other people chose for you, but if there are objects that are particularly pertinent to your character that you would definitely have on you at any time, obviously you can't go totally crazy, but like, like if you have a doctor's bag, like what are some of the things that you definitely have in it? I'm not a huge person that's like, let's keep track of every object, but objects that are important to your character, I'd like to create spaces for them to use it. So, I will keep those in mind as I start to like think of scenes and stuff. So in your background, if you could also include just anything that you might carry that's important to your character, or anything that like is a habit of theirs. So like author, like if you or author or PI, like if you're always taking notes, like that's a thing. Like
Yeah.
truths about your character that you think would be important, or it could be like detrimental, like I don't remember anything, like I take 0 notes, like every time I make a medication I just go off like my chemistry knowledge and have never written down a recipe, and every single batch is different, like here for like anything like that, any quirky little things that you want to tell me. I love all those little details, so any of those little things that you want to include, super here for it. And then if you want your backgrounds to be secret, send them to me, DM them to me. I would like to keep everything in Discord as much as we can, because then everything is like in at least one app. Or you can just post it to general if you don't care if other people see it. I don't mind either way.
Cool.
Cool. Does anyone have any questions for me?
No.
So, wait, never mind. I just forgot. Hold on. It'll come back.
It's fine. It's all good.
What do you have for homework for us other than backgrounds and consent forms?
I will get back to you on that. Backgrounds and consent forms are the only thing right now. As I create the town, I will likely throw things in character questions, and things like that as I start to plan stuff out. But right now, I don't think I have any homework for you, unless there's homework you want to do. Is there like something that you're like, I would like to provide this to you? 'Cause I'm happy to
Should we
take
know
it.
the rules?
If it makes you comfortable to know the rules, know the rules. If it is a lot to carry to try and figure out the rules by reading the book, that is fine. Don't read them. So if you're a nerd and you want to know the rules, know the rules. Like, I'm here for that. I will be leaning on those of you who are really into rules. Because I will be reading this book and taking notes, because I think I've read less than most of the people in this room right now. So, yeah, so like, there's always at least one person who's like, no, I have read this book cover to cover 3 times before the start of game. But if you are not that person, I don't care.
For example, I'm not that person.
Is there someone who's playing a character that would take notes, that also, as a person, as a player, likes to take notes?
Casey.
I'm not playing Tor.
I know, but you're the note taker usually.
No, I'm not. I've never taken notes for any of
The
our
fuck are you talking?
campaigns.
You're usually the one who gives recaps, aren't you?
Because I have a good memory. I don't take notes.
You learn something new every day about your people, I guess.
Mm-hmm. If we need a note taker, I'll do it. But I also want to.
No. If no one wants to take notes, I'm not going to force anyone to take notes. It's just, it helps me to know if there is a note taker, because then I will ask the follow-up question. Do you want me to remind you when you have forgotten things? Or do you want me to just let you keep going with what you assume is true?
Oh, go ahead.
Let us keep going.
Yeah, don't remind us. If we mess it up, that's on us.
This feels very fitting for a Cthulhu-esque, like, Descent in the Madness thing anyways.
Yeah.
So
Like, if we ask for it, like, if we're like, oh, what's the name of the
Yes.
person? Like, let's say we're trying to build rapport with this person, and we above table forgot. I will ask for a reminder, but for like this is gonna be you're gonna fuck around and find out by forgetting. I like fuck around and forgetting and finding out.
All right, yeah. No, feel free to ask me questions if you're like, no, I'd really like the answer to this. Always here to answer questions if you ask me. And I'm always here to answer player questions that their characters would know, but they don't know. So like, if your character's really good at chemistry, but you don't know the actual formula for methamphetamine, like, I'm not gonna make you like recite it to me or things like that. So like, if you think your character would know but you don't know it, I'm happy to answer those questions too. But knowing that y'all just want me to like let you forget is totally fine with me.
I am being reminded that it is time to walk the dog.
Yes, that was the
So
last
I'm
thing I forgot to ask earlier. So have a good night, everyone. I will see you back here on the 9th, 2 weeks from today. Yeah. All right.
Sounds good.